Good morning, and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. Change is always doing something to improve. Or is it? Today, our thoughts will be inspired from this inspiration. I just don't want that for myself anymore. Is a valid enough reason to stop anything. We are going to talk about the things that you don't want anymore. In other words, things that you may not want in your life anymore. We all have to make decisions. And from the smallest to the biggest decisions, those things change our life. And as you are here on this program today, I want you to think about what things did you have to change in your life. Some things for the better. With each change is a response to the experience of change. And Tuesday transformation has always meant something that you've changed. If you've been here long enough, and you've been here to understand the importance of change. And more importantly, do you want to change? We start our program out by asking, what are you thankful for? Yesterday, I met with someone, and I'm going to tell you, you get to learn so much. You get to learn so much that you start looking at yourself. I'm so grateful for change. Did I say that loud enough? I am so grateful for change. On a day-to-day basis, I'm always speaking to someone. And I was very thankful for their change. Good morning, Trish. What are you thankful for?
Good morning, and I'm thankful for waking up this morning. That's what I'm thankful for.
Yeah, thank you. How many of you are comfortable with things in your life right now? And I don't want you to think too hard. I want you to think about the question. How many of you are comfortable with things in your life? See, here we ask questions that help you to think. Because today's program is, I don't want to. That is, I don't want to change. And it's going to send through your mind, what is it that you have had enough of? You just don't want to do it anymore. And that was the gist of a conversation that I was in yesterday. It made me think about when people say they just don't want to. Have you thought about it? What you just don't want to do anymore? Because when you don't want to do something anymore, what is it that you do? When you don't want to do anything anymore, you stop doing that thing. And you just don't want to do anymore. We're going to talk today. Abusive relationships. How many times have you said, I just don't want to do this anymore? Because that's when you stop. You start to go into survival mode. People can ask you, why didn't you leave? And what do you say? You start making excuses. You start looking at positive things such as they will change. But here's the key. When someone asks you, why didn't you leave that abuse, that domestic violence? Here's the simplicity of it. You just didn't want to. And we're going to talk to you about spectrums of what you don't want to do versus what you do want to do in your life. And this could apply to anybody. Maybe you're not in a domestic violence relationship. Maybe you've experienced none of that. Maybe you say, well, I don't want to be in those kind of relationships, so I'm not going to be. So you stop it before it gets started. But I'm going to tell you something. There are hundreds of people that may need to hear this program today. Welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We're streaming everywhere. We are streaming everywhere. And you can listen. That is, if you want to. So now, when people say, why have you not left that relationship? You say all these excuses, but let me stop you. Ask yourself, do you want to leave it? Do you want it to stop? How does it value you? Are you afraid? Do you feel abandoned, or you don't know how to make decisions? Why do you stay? All those questions has run through your mind, I'm sure. But could it be that you just don't want to? Now, I've said that word a couple times today, as we've already started. But in order for you to give a definite answer as to why you stayed, you must get to know yourself. There are many reasons that you may have to answer, not just one, but there are many questions that you may need to ask yourself as to relationships and experiences. Every day we have to make decisions. We have to make decisions that will affect our life, both you and me. We make decisions where to live, what kind of clothes we want to wear. The list goes on and on. Uh, when people ask you, If you want sugar in your coffee or not, you make those decisions, right? Good morning, everyone that is coming in or not. When you are connecting to yourself, you are going to understand yourself. Because even if everybody is telling you what to do or what not to do, one day you are going to stand in the face of the mirror and awake your lions and be able to answer the question, what do I want for myself? You're going to have to make decisions by yourself. What do you want when it comes in your life? See, we have the freedom of either knowing what we want or not knowing what to do. You know, we talk about the brain and how powerful the brain is. Once we have made up in our minds that we don't want to do something anymore, what begins to happen to us? Nobody can talk us out of it. Are you that way? Once your mind is made up? How many of you have been in that experience where your mind has been made up and you say, I'm not doing this anymore? Anybody? Trish?
I have.
And what was that experience like for you?
It was hard because I was so used to hanging around this friend group, and they weren't on the same morals as I was. And I was, I got tired of it. So I was like, I can't go out with you guys. I can't hang out with you guys because you guys do the opposite of what I believe in. And it wasn't with judgment towards them. I just needed to change for myself because it wasn't me.
Did everyone hear the operative word that my co-host used? The word change. Are you ready for change? I want you today, as we are listening to the program, because you'll always have expression through art. I want you to make a list. You can even draw this of more things that you don't want. Perhaps you haven't got to the one thing that you don't want. Another thing my co-host mentioned that's so profound with people is not judging them. And I think we all have a little bit of what people will think when our mind is made up of something and we say we just don't want to do it anymore. We begin to judge ourselves. What will happen? What will a person think? How will they feel? We start going through all of this, but the brain is so magnificently powerful that the brain says, nope, I don't want this. See, even in toxicity, our heart normalizes what we know logically we don't want. So I ask you today, what is it that you don't want in comparison to the things that you do want? You know, in your lifetime, when mom or dad has made a delicious meal, we oftentimes have made room for seconds. That seconds that you're having is that you liked what you had the first time. And so your body says, I want more. Why do you want more of the delicious meal? Because it was yummy. It was satisfying. And so we have seconds. How many of you have had a second helping of something? Anybody?
I have.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there's even a third helping if there's enough. But let's stick with the second helping because our body does something. It says, I like that. So I want more. But now, could it be that the mind tells us that we want more of what is toxic? Because it's the same that our body condition, or excuse me, our mind conditions us to want more. And we fulfill that desire can be the same as if we want or crave toxicity. We have to decide in our mind that we're absolutely not wanting this. So what happens is you will create a change of something. Why did I bring out the second helping of food? Because for you, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, I want you to know that there's no judgment. I want you to know the effect and the response to the experience. Our body is a awesome piece of tool. Our brain that is housed in our body is a magnificent tool, and it works in such marvelous ways. And we can begin to tell ourselves that we are conditioned to the things that we don't want. And that's why it becomes so difficult to stop it. Whatever that is. And that's why we can safely say, no judgment. So today, I want you to treat yourself with kindness. How do I want you to do this? When you treat yourself with kindness, that means looking at your situation and being kind to yourself with no judgment. I don't want you to judge yourself. Because many of my clients have done that as I listen to them. And they ask themselves, why? Or they don't ask themselves why, because they feel like that second helping makes them okay. At the dinner table, fine. But if it's toxic, why take it in? We think about the do's and the don'ts. I'd like to do this. There's even a to-do list. Today we're going to look at the things that we want more of and the things that we would not want more of. Let's get honest with ourselves. Many people have personality. You and I know them well. And they either are going to have the excess, the second helping of something that is not good for them, and it's not up to me to decide what is good for you and what is not good for you. This is Transformation Tuesday, and when you come here and it's a Tuesday, this is what you will leave with. To think about something that you would like to change. So now, as you look at your life and you want to change that something, the only reason that you should change it is because you're saying, I don't want this. When you look at yourself, I don't need this. I don't need a second, a third, and a fourth serving of life or people, in your life. They keep feeding you, and you keep feeding from, that are toxic. And when I say toxic, let's start with abuse. Because there's some of you that are secretly living in very abusive lifestyles, while the others of you may have a life that you want. While there's still yet others that might sit in silence, knowing that there are things for you to change. Guaranteed when you leave here today, you're going to figure it out, because you have a to do and to don't list. And by now you have probably thought about some things. And I'm going to use the topic of abuse because so many people deal with it not knowing what to do. But one day, you're going to be important enough to stop it. Nope, I don't want that second helping of an abusive life. And we're talking about ourselves. Maybe someone is not being abusive to you. Maybe you are your worst enemy and you do it to yourself without anybody doing it for you. By the way, how are you speaking to yourself? Good morning for those of you who have come in. We're talking about things that we don't want to do anymore. What is something, and that's a vibe talk question, that you don't want to do anymore? What is it that you don't want to do anymore? Because it doesn't serve its purpose. It doesn't validate you. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't bring positive. That's a question we're asking today. While we are talking about the things that we want to do, our list is long. How about yours? What is something that you're thinking about doing right now that you want to do to start change in your life? Anything you do is going to be a change, some kind of change in your life. Did you all know that? What is something right now that you want to do? Right now, I am putting together all my thoughts to create a book. And I keep saying that, so look out for it, because it's going to happen before the year's out. But before you write something, you have to get your thoughts together. And that's what I want to do, create a book. I think it's going to be a short book, but it's going to be written for people that may or may not be in abusive relationships. It's going to be based upon feelings about the men in our lives that may be going through something. No particular anyone, just so that the men can understand that it's okay to have emotions. So look for that. That's something I want to accomplish. What do you want to do, Trish? What do you want more of?
I would say I want more rest. That's what I'd say. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep because, schoolwork, but I'm trying to put in that me time in my schedule so I can get some sleep and do things that'll make me feel relaxed.
Yeah, yeah. So we want you to think about the doings of your life, your experience, doing things maybe that are more comfortable. Now, we don't want you to go out there and play Russian roulette with your life. That's not what we're promoting here, but we want you to think about change. Because you can't know it or do it until you know it. You remember the thing I said about the second helping because something was good, you tasted it, you know how it tastes. Think about that in your life. We know when something is good by our taste buds, and we know when something is not, right? I want you to get the sense of things that you don't want. I'm going to go back here. And because we're all familiar with food, how many of you have gotten in the refrigerator and you've tasted, not because you wanted to, but something that's gone bad? It's been there a while. You've been meaning to throw it out. Was it because you didn't want to? Things have gone bad and you just have missed it. Would you go and taste that knowing that it's a bad thing or it's gone bad? How many of you would dare risk that? Well, I know you say, Miss Nisi, I would never do such a thing. Unexpectedly, things go bad, or things go wrong, like spoiled milk. For those of you who eat cereal, have coffee, you begin to pour the milk, and the milk is thick and chunky. You say, in reaction to what I'm saying, yeah, eh. So what do? You save some? No, you throw the whole thing away because you now know that that's not a good thing. I want you to be thinking about what are those things that are like that spoiled milk. I hear many men and many women say, I wanted to love them until it was right. And everything's gone bad, and you've tried and you've tested and you've experimented, you went to counseling, you've done all this thing, and the milk is still spoiled. When I say spoiled milk, it represents the toxicity. How many times have we decided that we just did not want it because it has an invalid date on it? Milk goes bad. Milk goes bad. Food goes bad. We like the yummy parts of life. And I want you to be able to experience the yummy parts of life. But do you know when those yummy parts of life are? They're like that second helping of food. You know it. Why? Because your taste buds tell you this is right. That's yummy. Many of you are still in the spoiled milk stage, or the food that has gone bad, and you're still trying to eat that food or consume that milk, even though you have now tasted it and you know the response that you're going to get from tasting it is not going to be a good response. How many of you listening to this podcast know what I'm saying? You wouldn't keep the spoiled milk, right? And say, well, I'll try to sever it, hoping that it will turn good and you'll use it for another time. You dare not. You wouldn't think about how to make it better, right? Because what you've now decided to do is, I need milk. Whatever is gone bad, I need to replace. Something that you need to replace means change. What is it that you need to change? Something in your life. Right at this moment, maybe you're not ready to tell people what it really is, but only you know. I want you to think about the things that you now want. Because once you get out of the spoiled milk or the toxicity of life, you will need to replace that. So now that you're getting out of the I don't want this anymore, you're going to be in the throes of something you want more of. And God forbid, don't let it be the spoiled milk or the food that went bad. We are talking in symbolic terms. Remember, the spoiled and the thing that's gone bad is toxic to your health. Have you now switched to make the things what the things you do want? What do you want? Someone made a list, and I love this list. Some of it you may laugh at, but this is a true list. They say they want more after they've gotten out of this healing, or started healing, I should say. Pardon me. They want to do more driving with the windows down. How many of you have driven like that? You want to drive with the windows down and the radio off. If you're like me, I like driving with the radio on and the windows down. Maybe that's not your list at all. Maybe there is something number one of what you want to do. This is a real list. They even said I want fewer things from the dollar store in my house. I like the dollar store. Had someone tell me they were so sick that they couldn't go to the garage sales. You know, we like what we like, but I thought that was cute. Here's something else. A list. By the way, I had permission for this. I want more one-on-one coffee and lunches with friends. I've been doing that, ladies and gentlemen. Lunches with friends. Because you know what I realized? Under any toxicity, you're going to want to get to know who you are once you say, I don't want this anymore. Because you've learned, hey, this is not good for me. And nothing's going to change after you've tried everything else. The only thing you're going to change, if you want to, is yourself. Understanding that. So when you come out of that, you're getting to know yourself and how you're going to feel connected. So this one-on-one more lunches with friends, that's all about connection. I had someone literally write a note to me because I'd never saw myself like this. They said, you're a whole life. Wow, I thought. I have never thought of myself like that. What does that signify? Hope for those who have invalidated themselves by staying in the toxicity. You're a whole life. That means wherever I go, I like to have fun. But it's all in good fun. Years ago, you couldn't have said that to me. You're a whole life. And I thought, wow, that should be a quote. That's what they said to me. How about more walking? How many of you take more walking? If you're already walking, you're doing more walks. You're changing from the toxicity into something that is going to change for the better of you. Now, we are not talking about changing the other person because your brain is only capable of controlling your thoughts, no one else's. I paused for a moment. How about this one? This is a list again. They wanted more possessions and more metal possessions than fewer plastic ones. Someone said, I want more plants. More plants. Think about that. I want, someone says, to wear clothes that make me want to stand up straighter. These are I wants instead of the I don't want. I want more time with a book in my hand and less time with a mouse in my hand for the computer people. I want more talking and less thinking. I want less drink. I want less drink nursing and more dancing. Yeah. I want more greens and fewer starches. I want people to collect things I create. I want color coordination. I want things well oiled and tuned up. I want more paths with ambient music playing in the next room. Or bath, I'm sorry. I want more baths with ambient music playing in the next room. I do that. On that list, I want to meet people with unconventional attitude toward sex. Someone said that, not me. I want to be a regular with I want to be a regular with a usual somewhere. I want to mingle with strangers everywhere, someone said. What do you want more of? Have you thought of even one? Have you identified with any one of these? Yeah. Here's one. I want to change the way I think about the important things. Remember, you can't do anything about what someone else wants. You see, the I wants and I don't want are choices. How do you fare in this life of choices? What do you want? Let's get deeper into this by thinking about how you matter. Today, I want you to give yourself permission to matter. And I want you to give yourself permission to validate why you matter. Because sometimes we have a hard time stopping the things that have invalidated us for so long. We're punched, we're gut punched with the things that we don't want for ourselves. Someone says or someone did. Here's one that I can't stand. When people say, "You made me feel." I once told a person, "You can't make me feel anything because you don't have control of my mind and my emotions." I want you to always remember that. And that doesn't mean that we don't have feelings. It just means that you are now in the driver's seat for your emotions and your mental health. No one can make you feel any type of way if you don't allow it. Now, that's not to say that we are AI characters, robots. We are human, and you have the right to choose how you want to feel because you, yes, you, come a little closer, have a choice. Stop beating yourself up. Stop allowing other people to beat you up. Stand up, stand tall, and validate the reason for why you are enough. Going back to the conversation that I had yesterday, the person could not validate themselves. When I asked, why did you not leave that situation? They were riddled with gut punching. You're not good enough. You'll never amount to anything. Imagine every day kicked and beaten. That is in a symbolic way. Because words can kick you. Words can gut punch you. Words can fist punch you. And have the same effect as a physical beat up. Stop beating yourself up. It is when you get tired. It is when you say enough is enough that you will change and stop what has happened. We're going to be right back with Trish's Treasures. Stay tuned.
Podcast. Here's where you find us and our information. You accept donations, you can send it to our Cashapp, which is vibetalkfacethelion. You can send us voice messages as well through Spotify and our direct connect, which is 661-503-8993, which is the first information that you will see on our YouTube channel. The channel is also the first resource of our updated videos, along with Facebook, with any up-to-date videos or reels or any posts that we're doing. Instagram mostly promotes the positive quotes and reels of our podcast and our radio show, which we call Radio Show, which happens Saturday night. Doesn't have a specific time, and our slogan is "What song can we play for you?" And that is also hosted by our host of my Talk Facingthelion's podcast. You can find most of that on iHeartRadio and our Spotify.
Before we go to Trish's Treasures, I wanted to just bring out, how do we know we don't want something anymore? We may not feel happy about it anymore. Choices make us think about what we like and what we dislike. We begin to find other things to do or procrastinate in something that we don't want to do anymore. We also may want or may feel disgusted with it. You ever been disgusted with something? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, spoiled milk, that is the best description of disgust. Spoiled milk, if you've ever experienced that, before you even taste it, you already know it's spoiled. Just the sight of it disgusts me. And that's how you will get disgusted, repulsed by it. So I want to give you those thoughts. In the meantime, let's go to Trish's Treasures. You can find Trish's Treasures that is always affiliated with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Trish?
I recall when I first learned how to do my own hair. And the reason for that was because I already learned how to do it. I just never did my own hair before. I always let my mom do it. And so one day I asked my mom, can you do this hairstyle for me? Because I would really like it. And because I really wanted to change the hairstyle that I had during the week. So I wanted a new hairstyle. And my mom was like, I have your other siblings here to do. You have to do it yourself. If you can learn how to do it, I taught you how to do your hair, so you have to do it yourself. And I didn't. I waited. I waited on my mom, and before I knew it, it was 7 o'clock, and we had to go to the bus stop. And I didn't redo it. And I was like, wow, if I would just tried, then maybe I would have a different hairstyle. At least close to the hairstyle that I wanted. And so after that day, I decided to practice doing my own hair. It started kind of wobbly, but the more that I practiced, the more I was desperate to change my hairstyle to see what I can do with my hair. The more I just love doing my hair. It's my favorite thing to do now. It's healing. It's a healing process for me. It's relaxing for me to do my hair. It's a must. I need to do my hair. That's just me. And I get so excited of what creative hairstyles can I think of next to do with my hair. And that's and all of that was a choice. Either I could have waited and not learned how to do it myself, or I could have taken the choice to learn to do it by myself. And I took the choice to learn to do it by myself because I was kind of tired of waiting on me being the last person for my mom to get to. I'm not mad at that. It's just I have a bunch of siblings. She had 12 people to go through, okay? So me being there and I'm just waiting, and I was like, you know what? To help her out, I'm gonna learn to do it myself, and I'm gonna do it myself with me because I want to change my hair. I love changing my hair in different hairstyles, and I see that as my life a lot. Changing my lifestyle, changing the cycle of self-doubt in my mentality, changing how I view myself in the mirror. All of that was a choice for me. And I made the choice to change it because during the time I was comfortable with self-doubt. I was comfortable with just doing things that I would never do, but just to fit in for other people's validation. I was comfortable with that. And when I got tired of it, when my mentality was like, this isn't you. You have to change. You have to do something different. I need something different. I want something different. And I took that, and you know how people say I took it and ran? I took that and flew. I got my wings with that. I changed who I was, and I am respectful to myself now. I don't disrespect myself. I try not to in my thoughts of being my worst critic because, like we talked about, you can abuse yourself. And I was verbally abusing myself mentally. I was very hard on myself. Every day I would tell myself I wasn't worth it and things like that. And I had to change it because I felt there's something more. This can't just be the only thing that I am. There has to be more. And I was right. There is more on the other side, and it's better on the other side. And it's a great feeling. I thank God I found that peace within me and who I am as a person. And I'm glad that I chose the choice to change.
Basement, basement.
really love that. Thank you, Trish. Look forward to Trish's Treasures. Go on our YouTube page and see what Trish is teaching wisdom all about. You'll enjoy that. So here's some wrap up. Think about what makes you happy, what your needs are, what do you value, what is your core values in life, what are you passionate about, what activities make you feel livable, like you're going with the flow. What would you do if there were no limits? What would you do? How do you want to spend your time? What do you admire? What makes you jealous? How do you envision your pattern of life to be? And again, what you don't want. When you know this and knowing what to avoid, like that spoiled milk, you don't want a second helping of that, you're able to empower yourself to make decisions that are best for you, and you will see the change. You will be that change. Knowing and thinking about what drains you mentally, emotionally, what makes you sad or causes pain. Thinking about your greatest accomplishments in life, and are you willing to make that change? These things help to connect you, like Trish said earlier, to take your wings and fly. You have them in order to be able to change your life, mind, and soul. Thank you for your listening to I Don't Want to, part of our Tuesday transformation that changes you and your life. Our question as we wrap up is, what did you learn and discover about yourself during today's podcast? We'll start with you, Trish.
I learned that the choice to change is not just the fact that it's my choice, it's the fact that it matters. And the choices that I make that is pointed towards me is very important. And it's because that I matter, that I should be wise in my decisions of the things that I choose for me. And my experience here today was empowering.
I have learned and discovered about myself is that change is possible, because within us is a lot of power. We have tools such as our mind and our heart that empowers us to be able to be amazing humans and be capable humans to make choices. And that makes me feel great knowing that I have that ability to change. No one else can do it for me. I want to thank my co-host. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for listening and liking our program. And we are streaming everywhere. Thank you so much. Have a good day and make your change. I challenge you to do that.
Because I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about I was really about to lose it, then I got the vibe with it. I really took the time with it. I really love the ride with it. Yo, really got the vibe with it. Just my style with it. I really love the ride with it. You can probably see I'm better you. When you get the vibe with it. Yeah, when you get the vibe with it.